Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. And it's my honor to have this opportunity to share my information, my knowledge of acupuncture and Chinese medicine with everybody. Hope my talk is be interesting, not make everybody sleepy. First of all, I'd like to see how many people have heard of. Okay. Can everybody hear me well at the back there? Great. Okay, great. So now, I would like to see how many people have ever heard of acupuncture. Oh, great. How many people have tried this? Few. Okay, good enough, but I would like to get my topic now. I put the title as a new and old concept of health. For healthcare, the reason is one of them. So first of all, I'd like to see what is called acupuncture, and of course, it's one of the key components of traditional Chinese medicine, and it's a family of procedure. Remember, there's a family of procedure, not only just needles, and stimulate the points we call acupoints. And most commonly use the needle. That's one of them. I will have several pictures to show that. And also it's intended to remove the blockage in the flow of energy, we call the qi, which I will introduce a little bit later, and restore them and maintain the health. Of course, you get with 1,000 of years of history. How old that is, I will tell you a little bit more about it. And those are the so this is traditional acupuncture, my hand there, and the electrical combined with the modern technology, laser acupuncture, and then the cupping may be less popular. And point injection, very common procedure, and the moxibustion, you burn this on top of the needle or alone. So those are a couple of different type of them. And so why we call this new here? So of course many of you have heard that, but in the general public in these states, and still a lot of people, like doctors too, they never heard of it, or even they don't know what it's about. And then, so of course, healthcare really involves so many aspects of prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and healing, as well as insurance. So in prevention, other than vaccination or when people get infected, you isolate. You don't use acupuncture as a routine. In diagnosis, of course, medical, conventional medicine just uses, the technology, not the traditional Chinese medical way to diagnose. And treatment, of course, not include acupuncture. Now there are many medical centers start to, use acupuncture, but still, like the insurance side, is not cover it. At least in Tennessee, most of them. And the healing is not the routine way. But we see the increase of the use of that. But that's what I put here. Insurance, so that's most of the insurance. I don't believe they cover any in prevention, not mentioning acupuncture. So I would like to see how old that it is. This picture probably should give you a little idea of how this early acupuncture developed. It's really from the battlefield, from your daily activity. You got hurt, you're wounded, and then you got something sharp you put there and say, oh, this will make me feel better. That's how it comes. And literally the earliest needle we can find is about 5,000 years. So this is so let me get a close-up see here. So this we call the Bin stone. This is the earliest needle or the tool used as acupoint. That's in New Stone Age, and this is the bone needle, and those are the earliest needle type in the house in the Museum of Traditional Chinese Medicine in Shanghai. So it's very remarkable. This is another tube with a tube, the bone needle with a tube. Of course, with the technology advanced, and then you use a different type, like bronze, gold, silver. So that's a different type of needle here, and of course. In the history, in the Han Dynasty about 2,000 years ago, people really used real gold and real silver. That's why today in China, the nickname we always refer as a gold needle or silver needle, that's why. And here, so this is the modern needle we use. All sterile steel needle is more, so not easy to broken. And if you compare with the conventional, the needles here, syringe needles, but you can get fit into 10 tiny needles. So that's why with a special skill, you insert there, you don't feel much pain, or you feel some heaviness or pressure, but not so much pain. Next, we see how this. Now we call it old because not only the needle old, but also in the history, this is the main health care system. So in prevention, diet, herbal, qigong, acupuncture. Diagnosis, you use Yin-Yang tongue, pulse diagnosis, the Meridian system. I will talk a little bit, further afterward. And of course, treatment, that's the major thing. You saw, those kind of modalities. I will show you a little bit more. And the healing, including acupuncture and the insurance in China or in Asia in general. So cover all modalities, including herbal, not only just acupuncture. And of course, body manipulation, kind of an Asian style of massage, more powerful. So what is Chinese medicine? So here is, I just copied from National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine. It's a whole medical system, and it's based on the concept of the disease. It's really from the disruption of the qi, and of course the imbalance of yin and yang. So acupuncture and other modalities try to use to balance this yin and yang, try to enforce the qi. So here is some thing I summarize here is about medical system more than 3,000 years old, and of course the perception of the human body is very holistic rather than body part, and also use a very special term because in ancient time you use the language at that time, not today. So of course you can imagine people have concept of molecule or fMRI such as this. And they use a special way to use it. And of course, it's earliest individualized or earliest personalized medicine because each individual will very differently. I will talk about a little later. So if we get a little bit comparison of East and West, this is what I put here in the, East normally is empirical observation versus scientific and case-based, and of course, East more about focus on art. Of course, there is a science behind it, but the Western medicine is more about technology. That's why I say, diagnosis is great in Western medicine, but in ancient time, definitely need to blend. And a holistic view and a molecular. So I just mentioned that. So you look at the human body as a whole system, not separated. And of course, I would also, emphasize that Chinese medical theory is look at the body as a collection of energy, functional energy, while in Western medicine you see as a mechanical part, collection of that. So of course, based on this different philosophy, your treatment, your diagnosis will be different. I would say if you combine two, it will be the best. So here, those modalities, I already show you some pictures. So acupuncture, massaging, of course, big part of the Chinese medicine is, the plant, so normally called herbology, including the root, the leaf, and flower, seed, and of course, the animal part as well as the minerals. So this is the most common use, but those are also sometimes blended depending on what condition you treat. And of course, Tuina is a very common thing. It's not only just the massage, it's more about the corrective manipulation. And Qigong, Tai Chi, probably some of you heard of it, like a meditation focus on that. And so diet, nutrition is a big part for not only just treatment, but also prevention. So that's, in Asian, people focus so much on how to balance your diet. So here is some, example. This is a very typical raw herb, and of course this is a pure formula. So this is really time tedious when you use it, but if you know how to use it, you normally use a concoction. And here is some kind of mineral part. So here is, more about, tea, food, and you use all kind of things as a food like medicine. Now, so I would like to introduce some of the basic principles in Chinese medicine. So those are, each one, especially Yin-Yang and the Qi and the Meridians, each one I will mention some, but not take too much time so that not confuse you. So if you have any question, I will be welcome any questions here. So what is the Yin and Yang? This is a philosophy. It's a philosophical concept, and let's see the earliest medical classic in Chinese medicine. And what is said is the Yin-Yang is the Tao of the universe. It's the principle of all matters, and it's the parentage of all changes as well as the origin of birth and death. So, and even earlier, the Taoism, they have this saying: the Tao is the one, and from the one come Yin and Yang. And from these two create energy, from energy 10,000 things, the forms of all creation. All life embodies the Yin and embraces the Yang, through their union achieving harmony. So what it says here is, okay, just go back a little bit here. So what it says is the Yin-Yang is one, is opposite, but they complement, they depend on each other, and they also need to be balanced. So here, so this is what Yin-Yang should be balanced. And of course, in all cases, we try to maintain this balance to help our health. If anything happens, make this imbalance happen, either excessive Yin or deficiency of Yang or vice versa. It will all, leading to disruption of normal function. So Yin-Yang is applied to all aspects of the universe and also as our human health, our body structure, philosophy, pathology, diagnosis, and of course treatment, as well as other progress. So if we look at the eat, so this is the healthy plate, but Chinese medicine view the food also has, you need to get a Yin-Yang balance. So most of the vegetables and some grains, they are Yin category, while proteins and butter, dairy products, and they are all Yang. So in general, so when you cook in Chinese, diet, so you never just cook meat or vegetable. You always have a mixture of those. That's why the Chinese food, or Asian food in general, they are all balanced. So when you have meat, you definitely need some grains. When you have some cold food, you have some warm. So this is just an example of how this make this Yin-Yang balanced diet. So Chinese nutrition is focused on so much on the food Yin and Yang, how to make those help you and to keep our qi flow, our Yin-Yang balanced. In addition to that, also the daily exercise activities. So physical active, that's great to our cardiovascular, but it's not enough to help maintain our mental activities. So normally, your meditation, that's the Yin aspect. Your exercise, physically, that's more of a Yang. So you need to get the Yang balanced. And of course, I will show you another one. So about our brain and Yin and Yang. This is more, probably understandable by the modern science, because our brain is control all the function of our body, and those functions require all different chemicals, so we call the neurotransmitters. So there are yin chemicals and yang chemicals. Yin chemicals normally is more about the inhibitory, and the yang chemicals, they are all excitatory. So sleep, memory, or function in general, they need those group of chemicals to be in an appropriate ratio. Of course, in a way, making those yin-yang balanced. So when you have those group of chemical balance well, you get a good sleep, you get a good memory. Yeah, go ahead.
Could you read the yin chemicals? They're hard to say.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, yin chemicals, that's GABA, which is, one inhibitory amino acid, glycine. There's two major inhibitory amino acids in the brain. 5-HT is serotonin, control our emotions, stabilize our mood. Dopamine, DA, dopamine is also inhibitory. When dopamine neurons degenerated, so Parkinson's disease developed. So endorphin is very powerful pain inhibitory system in the brain, and also give us well-being sense. Estrogen, everybody knows there was estrogen, female hormone, and melatonin. So I just listed this example. Actually, there are more than that, so this is longer than this. I just give you this example, but they are all more prominent in sleep and memory and the mood and the general well-being thing. And so of course, yang here is glutamate, norepinephrine, acetylcholine, adenosine. I want to emphasize adenosine. Adenosine is one part of in the coffee. You remember when you drink coffee, we like to drink coffee. We drink coffee, we feel great. So the mechanism is because it's block the adenosine receptor. And of course, when you block it, because the adenosine receptor inhibits the activity. So just like you inhibit, and then you get excited. So that's just one way. And there's a male hormone. So I would like to mention that, from this group of chemicals, you can see, when you treat insomnia or other issue, if you just target one or two, so if you don't touch the others, what happened? Of course, you can get a temporary or short-term relief, but for the long run, you are making new imbalance or disrupt or other chemical network. So the crosstalk between different systems is really interrupted. You not, resume to normal function. Eventually, still generate some issue. That's why most of the, compound medication come with a side effect. And it's great you take short term, but the long term definitely is, so the side effect there. So how to get those, yin-yang balance without interrupt those things? I think, still we come back to the nature way. Acupuncture is one of the best the method. So how to, get this to use to everybody, that's, need a little bit effort, but that's why I'm here. Of course, another way, so I would like to show you a little bit of stress, nicotine, nicotine, people sleep, to smoke. Those stress or smoke long time, so this one is without those, this one you plus it. You disrupt those balance. When it's balanced well, you get a good attention, good memory, good sleep, good mood, and also when you learn, the neural structure will regenerate, so that's called neurogenesis. If this balance is broken, and then of course you can see the list of things, attention deficit, memory deficit, including dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, and of course depression, anxiety, all those, and also some other issues. This is from the brain. I just threw here with our brain activity. And how to keep this yin and yang balance, now leading to another concept of the qi. So because the energy is number one thing we need to keep our function, keep our yin-yang balance. So what is the qi? Qi is vital energy, so take-home energy is very simple. Qi is vital energy. It's the foundation to support our function, our body, and to keep our health, keep our immune system strong. There are different types of qi, so we don't need to know so much. So, But basically, those qi need to be strong, need to be circulated in our body in the appropriate way, just like our blood circulation. Qi circulate, or this energy circulate in a special structure or system called the Meridian system. Here is introduced section of this system. The meridian is the path of energy. And all acupoint, classical acupoint distributed along the meridian system. Those are the places where you make a diagnosis and apply the treatment, and also you can see reflect some changes. For example, if you have some stomach pain, you might feel on your feet, on your leg, there are points very tender. If you have heart attack, your back point, we call the heart point, is tender. So that's very common sense now, but that's how ancient time observed this phenomenon. And the energy through the meridian should be flow freely. If there is anything happened, blocked up, and there's a very famous saying that where there is no free flow or blockage, there will be pain. This pain not only just physical pain, but also emotional pain and discomfort and disease. And you use a special way to unblock this, just like the plumber to drain the water pipe. And then, so I'm the plumber to get this make this flow back to freely, and then so make the meridian system energy circulate better, so you get all the energy you need of all body functions, and then you resume the normal function, then you don't have any issue. So-called disease is because those function is disrupted. So in Chinese medicine view, disease, we don't call it disease, we call it abnormal function. So we need to resume this normal function. So those energy flow, and of course, support all the internal organ system, including our brain system. But in Chinese medicine, the internal organ system, we call it differently. It's more of a functional collection of the system. So I listed here. So this is another principle. You got a 5 zhang or yin organ, yang organ. So each organ system, they are not purely the anatomical structure. It's more of a functional collection. So why here is example. For example, the heart. So not only just control the blood vessel, that's the real heart, but helps mind govern the mental activity. This is the part of our brain activity. But this is also corresponding to what the heart is. So bless my heart broken. So that's in that manner. I think ancient Chinese also has the same meaning. And of course, those are so there's the kidney. So similarly, I just show you here, and another one is the liver. Very important to control our emotion, mentality, digestion, and the hormone. So each organ system, in 24 hours time, they have their peak time. So that's a very important, based on Chinese medical principle. We eat, we sleep, we exercise, we clear up ourselves at a certain time of the day. Otherwise, you can still do that, but you not take advantage of the best function of our body. So here is the clock of our organ system, 12 hours, peak time. So of course, modern science already approved or verify this peak time. For example, large intestine. Morning time, 5 to 7 o'clock is peak time for large intestine, because those are the time, those activity in the large intestine very active. So it's the best time to clear up our body. And similarly, 7 to 9 o'clock, I put the breakfast there because that's the peak time for our stomach. We cannot, to ignore our breakfast, because the modern, technology already show that the stomach secretes acid at the peak time at between 7 to 9. If we miss that time, so not only we don't get the best digestion, but also we hurt ourselves because too dense acid really burn ourselves. That's why so many people have reflux, have heartburn, all because of this. So that's the same that, you need to eat a breakfast like a king, eat a lunch like a prince, and eat the dinner like, anybody what that is? Pauper. Yes. That's the reason, because of the peak time. Because of the peak time, for example, at late night time, 7 to 9 time, that's a weak time of stomach. So normally, late dinner is not good for our body. That's the reason, because it's the weakest time of the stomach. Similarly to other systems, I just threw here. So I think next, what I would like to introduce is the so-called 5 elements. In Hippocratic time, that's Europe, ancient Europe is a 4 element, but here we have, in Chinese medicine, we have 5 elements. We still use it. This principle explains the interaction of different organ systems. It integrates Yin-Yang theory, Meridian, and nature phenomena. Those 5 elements are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. So it's corresponding to different season, different organ system. Liver is wood, heart belongs to fire. So such and such. So, for example, wood feed to the fire, fire produces earth gives the metal in the morning time, outside you produce some water. Those are kind of a generation, the interaction. Similarly, our organ system has such interaction too. And season-wise, I will talk a little bit later. And if we use this to explain some, condition, for example, if we get anger or anxiety, then we cannot sleep well because of anger and anxiety. You weaken the liver wood. And when that liver wood is weakened, then you cannot feed into the heart, the fire. So we need to function. And when you not sleep well, you get a poor appetite. Does that make sense? So you cannot sleep well if your appetite, your digestion gets slowed down. So that's because you weaken the spleen, the earth element. And then, so you get short breath, more anxiety, and maybe urination disorder, kidney disorder, and then all this back to, make the anxiety worse. This is just a vicious loop. So this is how to explain those, the interaction of different conditions, different organ system. So remember, Chinese medicine principle always look at the different system as a whole. So we always keep in mind. So when we treat one condition, we always ask, is your sleep good? Is your digestion all right? So here's another table show that, corresponding to the yin organ, yang organ, and the emotions, taste, and the season. So now it's spring corresponding to the wood. Normally, eating-wise, we need to eat to the season. And in spring season, we need to eat to enhance our liver qi. Best food is mushroom, celeries, carrots, some shellfish, those kind of things. In the summertime, of course, we need to eat something for the summer to help the heart. So if you want to know more, so we can talk later. And what condition acupuncture can treat? So this is, I listed here, in my hand, so what I have done, and I'm still doing that. So that's what so we do, health maintenance, prevention. Of course, I have a bunch of people just come to me maybe every month, once a month, or every other month. When you do this regularly, you never get sick. People get a cold, you don't get. So, of course, therapeutic, complement with the West medicine because Center for Integrated Health there as big part of, the medical center of Vanderbilt. We treat a lot of people from cancer center, from other center. We got so complement with them. And the condition we treat, all kind of chronic pain, So study already showed headache, joints, back pain, neck pain, osteoarthritis pain, TMJ, arthritic pain. They're all very effective. And emotional, like stress, anxiety, depression, I already put there. And of course, some female disorder, PMS, dysmenorrhea, and especially menopausal condition. And the GI function, that's also very well regulated by acupuncture. Cardiovascular, like atrial fibrillation, very well treated by acupuncture. And respiratory, allergy, asthma, that's all get treated. Immune system, endocrine system. Of course, we have some athlete, military, cosmetics, all kind of things. So apparently, it's multiple, just like one bird, multiple, or one stone, multiple birds, not only two. So WHO already, showed that about over 100 conditions are treatable by acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So they have those clinical trials, all those kind of being proved that are very effective. If you want to look at more about how much the NIH sponsored study and showing effectiveness, so this is the website you can go, is clinicaltrial.gov. But when I put there, acupuncture is about 527 projects already funded, and some completed, some now. So here is, for example, acupuncture for fibromyalgia, effective. Of course, you can, just like any medication, you cannot get rid of it. Depression. So apparently, depression is one of the indications acupuncture can help. Most often, we use Chinese medicine and acupuncture. The combination can help. So I have two, clients, friends here. They are here. So if you want to hear a story later, so that can give you a story with the depression, how their own experience. And of course, the IBS, Crohn's disease, and also, the dysmenorrhea. You have some insomnia, you have some vasomotor symptom, and also even mechanism of low back pain. So they already sponsor this research. So I mentioned that Chinese medicine is individualized medicine. How to individualize the treat? So here is an example. For example, when we have insomnia, if I go to the conventional doctor, they give you, let's try Ambien first, or some clonopin, or give you some melatonin, less side effect, regardless of what kind of insomnia. But in Chinese medicine, there are so many, sorry for that, keep pushing the wrong button. So you have yin and yang kind of a condition. You have heart spleen deficiency, liver qi stagnation, yin deficiency, liver fire. They have different, those symptoms. All you cannot sleep well, but some of them hard to fall asleep, some hard to stay asleep, some have excessive dreams, some have, nightmares, some other just feel like asleep but not feel rested. And their tongue, their pulse all show different signs. And then you put into those different categories. The treatment for acupuncture, you choose different meridian system, choose different point to treat, otherwise it won't be effective. Chinese herbal medicine, you have different remedy for that. For example, for the yin deficiency, you need to replenish, to tonify the heart and the spleen yin, and you have one remedy for that. For the yang part, so if the liver fire too much, you have the remedy to clear up the fire. So that's all individualized to the treatment. So in that way, you can make sure the effect is there. I think that's the foundation nowadays we understand, because everybody has different set of genes. That's how nowadays the personalized medicine based on. So when you screen those genes, they are different mutation, different set, different organization. And then so when you screen that, of course you use a different medicine for that. So this is a very early version of that, and we still use that. If without doing that, normally you don't get an effect. So that's a very challenging part for the modern study. Clinical trials cannot do this. So that's the challenge, but we still can try our effort to make modern medicine, to borrow this concept. And I would like to take the last 10 minutes to see how acupuncture works. And from Chinese medical perspective, I already talked so much, I don't need to repeat that. Unblock meridian, enhance qi, modulate zang fu or internal organ, optimize in and out, and balance yin and yang. From biomedical perspective, it's improve the local condition. So when you insert the needle there, improve the local condition, regulate the nervous system. So each one I will try to take a little bit of time to talk about it. So this is about the nervous system. I just give you a little things how acupuncture acts, which nervous system. So remember the sensory nervous system, you have smaller and a big one. And the acupuncture normally is to activate the big one. So this is just comparative. So this is the real thing. So the sensory normally delivered through the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, from the peripheral to spinal cord and to the brain. So we don't need to know so much about that, but just through here. And how acupuncture works, so when you have acupuncture inserted this, and you stimulate the local tissue, muscle, skin, tendons, and send a signal through the spinal cord to the dorsal horn, and then to go to the midbrain, to the one very important structure called the thalamus, where the pain processing center, and then send to the sensory, of the cortex in the brain. And then in each level, it integrates with the descending information to modulate those sensations to make the yin-yang balance. And then from there, send back to the information to all kind of organ system peripherally, no matter the heart or the lungs or liver and the intestine. That's how acupuncture works to help so many different systems. So with one needle, you can activate so many, information there. But none of the drug can do that. So any questions so far? Yeah.
So if you go in and let's say you have pain in your ankle, you insert the needle and it touches a nerve, right?
Yeah.
And then it sends a message to the thalamus. Did you say right?
Yes, they're all through the thalamus and the hypothalamus. Thalamus is just like an information processing center. And from there is go up to the cortex. Cortex is where our really information, get received and sent an order, just like a control center.
So in other words, every time you insert the needle, it sends a message to the brain.
Yes.
Now, if you have Alzheimer's, does that mean it doesn't work?
Still work. Alzheimer's is only those centers that involve your memory, cognition, but other center, for example, pain, you're still there, you're still intact. And touch or other sensory is still there. Language is still there. Of course, unless it's degenerate in this area. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you a little bit, how the peripheral, thing going. I think Dr. Gurji may show this slide already last time, but I would say, after acupuncture is, make the fibroblast, this cell form the connective tissue locally, and make it, enlarged and trigger the signaling pathway, make the ATP, which is energy release. That's why acupuncture can enhance your energy. And then, so when this happens, you change the cell type in the muscle and locally, and also have the analgesic effect as well as cell focal adhesion. And this outcome is make the local muscle tissue really relax and also optimize the local function so that the nerve can sense normally. If you have too much different things going on, the nerve cannot function normal. That's why people get neuropathy, hypersensitivity. So that's it. And also, so this is a slide to show how acupuncture help the hypothalamus, pituitary, and the ovary system. That's why acupuncture can help to balance the hormonal system and to help those female disorder. Of course, similarly to male, so that's the, testimony. And this one is about the, stress. Everybody has stress, and no matter what you do, even if we retire, we might still have this and that stress. And how this stress impact our body. So it's, you generally get the cortisol level increase, and then so you make the brain not work well. And with acupuncture, you can just modulate this level to help the cortisol level in the normal level, so that you don't get those consequences. That's how acupuncture helps the stress. And another one is for about how acupuncture helps the blood pressure. There's a lot of people with a high blood pressure or hypertension or whatever. What acupuncture does is help those, again, through the brain system, hypothalamus, endorphin, and GABA. I mentioned those in the Yin-Yang category. And of course, eventually control those blood pressure. So this is, I just copied from this publication. From my own work, so I focus on the immunological stress and the cytokines and how this impact our emotion. So what I show that, after you have stress, no matter what the stress is, infection or general stress, and you stimulate this signaling pathway, make the midbrain serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine, their balance disrupted. Yes, those yin-yang balance is out of track. And then you alter those classical neurotransmitters, serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine. And then that increase the, the risk of the affective disorder, including depression, anxiety, OCD. And when you give acupuncture, you block those, disruption. You make sure they are in the normal, function balance, and keep those homeostasis of those neurotransmitters, so they keep your emotions stable. So that's how it can help those emotional conditions. So a little bit more about the pain. So because we talk about those conditions, the pain is most experienced, and of course, maybe a lot of you already know the gate theory. So I put here the pain is the yin, the stimulation the yang, and so the brain here. So this is a gate control. If you get more pain signal into there, of course you get pain. If you get more stimulation, then you don't feel the pain. So acupuncture just help to control the pain. And of course, so this is another way to interpret, to see that, and from high level of brain and from your stimulation and from acupuncture to close the gate. So how many, what condition I would like to show. This is a very useful table to everybody. This shows what condition close the gate, what condition open the gate. So in general, anything stressful, anxious, tension, those are the factors make your pain more. If you focus on pain more, the pain will get worse. If you just meditate, make it think something else, then your pain will go away. That's why, of course, not mention acupuncture and the massage. So this is just a summary. So what the chemicals involved in the pain processing. So I don't need to mention to read all of them. This is the opioid system, and this is what I did earlier. And when you get acupuncture, those opioid binding site increase, and forebrain and midbrain hypothalamus. And of course, if you look at those, people already know. So in the brain system, that's encapsulating and more. And in the spinal cord, it's both play a factor. Or serotonin not only just involved in the emotion, but also in the pain modulation. So this is another piece of work I did. So after you give acupuncture, what happens in the hippocampus? Very important structure for our memory. So norepinephrine decrease, dopamine no change, serotonin and endorphin increase. That's all favor to our memory, to our pain process. And of course, there are also modern technology used to show how the brain changes after acupuncture. This is the fMRI, and you can see basically there are a lot of deactivation and activation. Activation is more about a information processing center. So orange, there are activation, blue is deactivation. And so those structures deactivated all involve the pain sensory information structure. Like hippocampus and amygdala also have a cognition and emotion aspect there. So this is just show you how the red, so this side is activation, basically is a pain processing center, and the blue is deactivation. You deactivate to make those pain stop there. And of course, this is compare acupuncture and the tactile, just see how much activation deactivation is. So you can see acupuncture get more deactivation than just a touch. And of course, people use acupuncture to study the condition. So example here is a carpal tunnel condition. And of course, this is after 5-week treatment. Those carpal tunnel sufferers, you get so much activation in most the sensory cortex here. After 5 weeks treatment, you can see basically compare as a healthy control. Not only their symptoms gone, their brain information image also changed. So I think almost there. So this is just a summary of the acupuncture. You get a acupuncture to peripheral organ, sensory signal to spinal cord, to brainstem, and to thalamus, hypothalamus, and to the cortex, and feedback to make the yin-yang balance, and to different organ system. And a little bit more stress. So stress can cause, the emotional aspect I just mentioned, can also increase the heart disease, and the switch on the oncogenes, have the risk of the cancer, control up the nerve cell, can cause the dementia and the Alzheimer's disease, can make insulin resistant, cause diabetic, and of course loss of bone minerals, which is osteoporosis. All this, because, the stress, so the stress is our enemy. We need to fight with it. How to do that? Many ways. Acupuncture, acupuncture is the best way to help and to prevent this. That's why acupuncture, if used in the prevention, that's a lot of benefit. Just not only just the pain, but also a lot of other benefit. So we need to keep our brain yin and yang, and hope everybody keep free flow energy, keep body healthy, and keep life quality. Okay. Thank you.
Acupuncture with low back pain. How effective is acupuncture used in low back pain?
How effective is a very good question. I would say depend on what kind of a low back pain. If it's acute, you might only get one treatment, the pain will be gone. If you're chronic, depend on how long it is. If you have low back pain for only about a week, 2 or 3, take care of it. If you have a couple of years, at least 5 to 7. But if you have sciatic nerve pinched or disc ruptured or herniated, that's long-term maintenance, not only just treatment. We can make it go away for a short time, but as long as your activity makes those discs herniated again, of course, generate a new pain. So it's maintenance is more important. Yeah.
Can you speak about using acupuncture as an adjunct to chemotherapy? How does it work and why is it important?
Thank you. This is a very good question. Yeah,
use acupuncture as an adjunct therapy of chemotherapy?
yeah, this is a very good question because acupuncture adjunct to the chemotherapy because a lot of cancer patients we received from Ingram's Cancer Center. So when you get a chemotherapy or radiation, the side effect, probably everybody knows that, for example, nausea, fatigue, no mobility of your GI function, and of course the cognition, and even the burning of the skin. Acupuncture helps in number one thing, is nausea. So it can make you eat better. If you cannot eat good, nothing helps because you have no nutrition, you have no those energy supply. So that's number one thing to help nausea. Number two, help your GI function better. Not only just nausea, you need to eat, you need to absorb, you need to clear up digestion. That's number two. Number three, enhance your immune system. I just showed in this several slides. So you get the immune system increase. Of course, you don't expect the one needle, get that enhanced. It takes some time, but eventually it will build up. So that's why regular treatment with acupuncture or some herbal thing can enhance your immune system. You don't expect to catch cold or other sickness. And number four, so there are a list of things, so I just threw it here, and then can help you to, for example, if you have some emotional fluctuation from those chemo, low mood and those kind of things, acupuncture can help boost it. So the consequences for that is when you get your better mood, your immune system get better, and your function also get better. This is just like a positive loop, not a vicious loop. Right? Go ahead, please.
How long does the acupuncture still affect you if you're trying to use it to alleviate stress? In other words, you have an acupuncture treatment and then you go back into your stressful environment. Does it protect you for a certain length of time, or do you have to go every day to get acupuncture to help for stress?
Good
Stress
question.
does so many bad things. I think we should all be motivated to reduce it.
Sure. This is a very good question. The question is, so how long it takes acupuncture to help your stress? Do you have to use acupuncture every day to tackle your stress? The answer is not necessary to use that every day. Remember, stress is not something we are afraid of. It's more about how our body handles it. So if our body handles it well, it won't affect us. So acupuncture helps our body in that manner. So acupuncture cannot reduce your workload, cannot reduce your tension between the people's relationship, but it does alter the response of your body to those environments. That's how it works. And of course, normally it takes 1 to 3 to 5 sessions. Some people, even one session, they say, I feel so relaxed, I can handle stress better. But in general, I would recommend the people to have this initial treatment every week for about 5 to 7 weeks. After that, depends on your handling ability and skill from others. And then we normally recommend every other week or every 3 weeks or once a month or even every other month. But for stress purpose, probably every 3 to 4 weeks. That would be good. Bad. You're okay. Anything else? Okay, back there, lady. Okay, so I believe your question is that if you have multiple conditions, do you need to use only one place or several different places to treat, right? Yes. So this is more about the specific of acupuncture effect. Acupuncture has a general effect. No matter where you put a needle, it always plays some effect. But for specific condition, you need to choose those specific system we call the Meridian system. Sure, if you just randomly throw the needle there, can help you reduce the stress, but for the specific, for example, if you have a GI function, nausea, normally the best place in your wrist, you push here, deep breath, and throw the needle there, immediately stop the nausea. But if you put it somewhere in your stomach, it also can, help, but not as effective as here. Similarly to the, blood pressure, if we have a hypertension, normally the best point is on top of the head and top of the ear. If you put it in your feet, that's also help, but not as effective there. So because those imaging study already show why those are specific, because each point have different stimulation, different inhibition. Okay. You're welcome. Go ahead, ma'am. Say it again. No. No. Remember in the qi slide I showed the yuan qi, the prenatal qi. That's a lot to do with our genetic set. If our parents get a great physical nature or long-living genes, we tend to live longer. If not, we tend to get sick easily. That's because those qi is different. We were born different, but we can always enhance it after we were born. Back there, sir.
Is there any pain associated with acupuncture?
If you administer it in the wrong way, definitely you will generate some pain, some tingling, yes. Because it's a needle anyway. Just like if everybody is sewing, you got a sew needle, stick yourself, pain. But if you use a special way, that's why you need to go to school for so long to train. I attended medical school for about a total 11 years. 5 years, yes, 11 years. 5 years and for the medical school, and then 6 years for graduate school. So, of course, you continue practice, keep your finger skillful. Go ahead, ma'am.
If you're on medication that can make bleeding worse or encourages more bleeding, is it okay to have acupuncture?
Normally, it's not a big issue because I have treated a lot of people in comatose, in some other like a platelet count is low. But when we treat that, initially, it just push a little bit longer when we draw needle. It's not a big issue. You might experience more bruise, but normally that's not a big concern. Actually, it can enhance your blood system. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Is there any progress being made to get the insurance companies to pay for these?
I need everybody help here. Because, insurance involve a lot of group work together, especially our legislation, our political people, and I believe everybody is more powerful than me do. I'm powerful to help you to treat the condition. I'm not that, to get this. I can recommend the insurance, say this is the condition and should cover, and because it works, but they most often say it's still experimental, so we don't cover. I say, well, experiment for 1,000 years. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Could acupuncture help headaches that are caused by sinusitis?
Yes. Is acupuncture help headache by the sinusitis? It's quite a common condition I treated here. It's very effective. Yes. Anywhere between 3 to 7, depending on how long your history is.
So you treat autoimmune diseases?
MS, LLs, and lupus, and Crohn's disease. Now, I believe they're all because of autoimmune disease. Yes. But you remember, this is really prenatal qi is low. We can help, cannot eliminate it. I believe, yeah, more. There, I think there. More question here.
Tell us the cost of an acupuncture treatment.
Each clinic is that different. I would say anywhere between 70 to 120 or 150. Some places charge more, some places charge less, but average I would say 80 to 100. That's probably is. But if you go through the insurance, Vanderbilt charge $500 per visit. Yeah, go ahead.
Under other conditions commonly treated, you had a list of things, and one was cosmetic. What would, like, for example, what would a cosmetic issue?
Help the skin, help the skin like a glimmer, like look like a younger. The reason is I just show you already. Acupuncture can help your connective tissue get better condition. So why our face looks good or not looks, glamour, because of those connective tissue. So if you make those connective tissue work better, more elastic, of course, that's why. Yeah, sure.
You sometimes use the term fire. Can you explain that more?
Sure. So I think Doug Hodgins, this is Mr. Doug Hodgins. He has been my patient for in the past several months, and so I think he has condition. I don't want to talk so much unless you want to brag yourself. So the question is why I use a fire, because this is a very nature phenomenon. Remember, Chinese medicine developing a couple of thousand years ago. Practitioner or common people alike, they use a natural phenomenon to describe what happened in our body system. Fire, we know, is hot. When burned, it really get our not comfort. And when we have fire, we can have liver fire, we can have heart fire, we can have even kidney fire. Each fire indicates something different. For example, if you have a liver fire, normally indicative of our anger too much, and just irritate, and we cannot control our emotion. We just throw off temper there. So that's a liver fire, because you burn it too much, you cannot tolerate. You have to get some outlet. Heart fire, when that happens, normally increase your blood pressure. Hypertension, that's one of the conditions because of heart fire. And also, most commonly, when you see your tongue, your lips get a blister, we call that because of heart fire. Too much fire you need to release, because tongue is the opening of the heart. So you need to get this fire out. Why? I think there's partly is because of the endocrine system, partly is because of the germ, gut system, responding to this heart fire. So because circulation, that's a real fire.
How do you assess somebody when they first come in to determine is it just from their history?
Good question. This involves the diagnosis of Chinese medicine, which I didn't talk so much. When a patient comes to me, normally the first thing, of course, we need to ask the history, what condition you have, and what the major concern you have now, and even the family history. Then we'll look at your tongue. Tongue diagnosis is a very important part. The shape, the color, the coating, all tells different story. And then we take your pulse. This pulse not just like how many times your heartbeat. It's more about the nature of the pulse. It could be float, it could be deep, it could be tight, or it could be thin or big. They all tell different things. For example, if you have fire condition, your tongue will be red with a little or thick yellow coating, but your pulse definitely is rapid. The rapid, depends on how many time and beats. That's not it. It's more about you feel it, and also it's tight, and also sometimes thin. And then, so after that, you need to check different part of the body. For example, if people have a heart condition, we normally go with the heart meridian system to palpate to see if you have tenderness. If you do, then we know that's a real heart condition. If you don't, normally that's more about the emotional aspect. So it's a full aspect. You ask, you listen, you smell, you palpate. So, of course, nowadays we also use a stethoscope. We also use fMRI. We also send patients to the lab test. We not rely on that solely. We rely on this more. Yeah. Go ahead. With acupuncture. In terms of acupuncture side effect, most often is some of tingling or bruise if not applied appropriately. And if people not skillful, they puncture your lungs. Of course, your thoracic max, that's something. But to me, it's never happened that way. I think sometimes people might feel tired after the first or second session. That's, again, I don't consider it a side effect. It's just your body try to process the information to help you further. So if there is any, probably it's minimal. But other medicine like herbal medicine, there are certain herbal medicine is very toxic. So that one you need to be careful. But in general, the herbal medicine I use normally, we use to help those conditions, much less side effect, and it's safe to use because through 1,000 years of practice, we already know how to combine the different plants so that keep its therapeutic effect while minimize the side effect.
Do you all use moxa in the Vanderbilt that you're treatment there?
No. The reason is because we don't have the facility to ventilate well. And also I don't have personality to help me. So only me at this moment. We used to have two, but the other one is retired. Yeah.
Why are the needles stainless steel now instead of gold and silver?
Very good question. Of course, I wish I used gold and silver so I possess those wells. But in reality, it's not only just because of cost, but also because of the quality. We wish the needle use elastic enough not to break. So gold and the silver are too soft, and the steel is very elastic. No matter how you bend it, it will not break. And of course, it's easy to handle. And then, of course, we all use disposal nowadays. Easier, yes. Okay.
If you get us all in balance with acupuncture, what are some tips to stay in balance without acupuncture? How do we keep what you've given us? If you get us all balanced, a few little tips to
Sure.
stay balanced in life?
Yeah, remember when I talk about the Yin-Yang balancing? So one of the, eating, why I put the eating and exercise into those slides. So I mean to draw everybody's attention that eating, exercise, those are very crucial to keep the balance. But there is a way to keep those yin-yang balance. You eat balanced food, you know how to do that, then you can keep your nutrition qi in the balance. If you exercise just physically, just run every day without meditate, eventually our mentality, our spirituality, and those parts will be not well. And then so all of the physical conditions caused by the emotion aspect. So one thing I would like to mention that here, so we have primary food, we have secondary food. Anybody know what a primary food and the secondary food is?
Primary food?
Yeah, primary food, F-O-O-D, food.
Probably like proteins and, I don't know, processed proteins and...
Wrong. All those are the secondary food. Primary food, I would say, is love. Remember, if we have tons of love, we feel great, we feel so secured, we feel so well, we can eat better. If that is disrupted, we don't have appetite to eat. Remember, build up your own primary food, number one thing. Then get a secondary food balanced. Okay? Thank you very much. There's any question?